Okay, so we covered that. So I confirmed that, and now so the client would send the contract, I would sign the contract. It would confirm, okay, are you okay with working for the amount that you said? So in that case, I selected $5. Okay, are you okay with starting out with the $5 with the Upwork deduction, whatever, with ability to increase your pay every 3 months? They're gonna have all of that in the contract. I would say yes, I would accept the offer. The client would send the offer, and it would just be a back and forth. You see it in your emails and stuff. After that happens, then you would have the job. When you have that job, I would say that when you do the hourly contract, I always prefer the hourly contract. So like how that was an hourly job, I would prefer that, because on Upwork, every single hour that you work, you have to get paid. No matter what. The client can't say, oh, well, Letitia didn't do the work for me. Letitia didn't. No. Once I clock in, once I set my timer and I start my work, which is important to start your clocking in when you start working. Once I do that, they can't say anything. Okay, so you clock in, the app would take screenshots of your computer and just make sure that you're actually working and not saying you're working and not working. So they're gonna take little random screenshots and verify that you have been indeed working on the work that was requested of you and whatnot. Okay, so that is the whole thing. And after you've worked, the next step would obviously be to be receiving your payments, to get paid. And at that point, let's say I worked for the entire week. That was a full-time position for about 3 to 6 months. Let's say I worked for the first week or 2 weeks. I think what Upwork does is they send you, payments at about a certain time of the month, or every 2 weeks or something. I don't really remember exactly how it works. But once you request your payment, the process is that you would get your payment in the next payout period. So they have a window, they have a date, you'll see all of that information, and you would know exactly what to expect. The next thing would be, when I do receive my money, I would I would hit withdraw, right? So when I hit the withdraw to take my money out, it's gonna ask me, where do you want to send the money? So let me go and see, because I think I can see with the withdrawal, because I just want to tell y'all, because they might have made changes. I haven't used it quite recently, but when you withdraw, where is it? Yeah, anyway, I'll tell you off the top of my head. When you withdraw money from working, you've put in the time, you work your full-time job, your part-time job, your contract, whatever it is that you did. The next thing would be to go ahead and select where you want to send the money. So I would select one of my Bahamas bank accounts. So it would be RBC or Scotiabank. Okay, I would have to put in my wire transfer information into the website. So that would be the wire transfer information. So I guess the routing number, my account number, whatever it is, put that in there. So when I do hit the withdraw button, it might ask me, okay, you're withdrawing. Okay, cool. All right. So just like any wire transfer, there might be a fee of $10, $20, $30 to withdraw the money, because they have to send it through the banking and whatever. That happens, and you get the money directly to your Bahamas bank account. Okay, and that concludes the whole thing. But the thing I love about Upwork is they have an escrow. So the escrow is whenever you start a job, you start working with a client, they put money aside for the entire job into an account that is held by Upwork, and at the end of your work, they release it. And it's a way that all of that happened. And I think a lot of this information will be in the Upwork 101 guide, but we are now on the Q&A section, guys. It is now 7 p.m. My alarm is just coming off now. So that was a lot. I need to take a sip, but you guys can start to give me your questions. And I guess as you guys do that, I'll just list the barriers that a lot of people have been concerned about, but drop your questions into the chat and I will be so happy to answer. Thank you guys for joining. I'm so grateful to have presented this information. Like I said, the information is free. The only way you can support me here is by tapping the screen. Tapping is free. Sharing the live, commenting, and that type of thing. So yeah, go ahead and drop your questions. And I will just say, you know, these last two things that I have on here. So communication, we covered. So barriers that people may be concerned about with working online, like things that may be, you know, a hesitation. So people might be afraid of the technology. People might be afraid of the technology. People might be afraid of, I don't know, just skeptical. They might not think that it's a legitimate opportunity to work. They might not think that it's this. People might be thinking, okay, well, I don't have a degree. How am I supposed to be able to make money on this website? Letitia, I don't have a degree, man. I won't work bad, but I sure I could get no job, man. I already tell y'all, there are jobs y'all can get. There are jobs y'all can get just chatting. If you could chat in WhatsApp, you could get paid to do that. You know what I mean? So don't tell me y'all can't do this. Don't tell me y'all can't do this. And I told you guys earlier, I've seen jobs where employers have been asking people to just draw. Can you just do a sketch for me, please? Can you sketch? I need someone to do like an outline, like draw this concept. I have something in my head. I don't know how to draw it. And then things for the teachers, and it's a lot. It's a lot, y'all. It's a lot. What else is the concern? So you guys can keep dropping your questions, and I'm just going over the last set of concerns that I've been told, because I did speak with a lot of people and they told me a lot of their concerns. So the next thing is device, internet, bank setup, confusion on the platform, that kind of thing. So like I said, Upwork has a very reliable support system. They have a very active support desk. As a matter of fact, you can get a job on Upwork.com. They always hire it, you know, so that's another opportunity. But yeah, so internet, I like to keep a backup. I like to have data on my phone if I'm doing the customer service related position, because you just don't know when there's going to be an outage with your power or whatever. Like having a battery backup, like I used to have a what do you call it, UPS or something, whatever it's called, like a battery backup on the computer to keep the battery going if the power decided to come off, and I would have my data and switch to HubSpot and all kinds of stuff. Like you just try to keep on, you try to keep that connection. And then what else? Skepticism, work from home discipline. Working from home is different. I know what it's like. I know what it's like to be sitting at the desk and not moving and just sitting there. It's a different experience. Obviously, you aren't working around other people. It's just you and whoever else you live with. And then the last concern is, I guess, picking a job, picking your skill. Like what skill, Miss Cooper, what skill can I use to get my first job? I really have no, you know, I really do much on this online thing. I really no technical person. What would you suggest for me to do on this platform? What I said, I think in my last live, is people who don't have any particular skills that they could think of. If you can speaking is a skill. Sales is a very viable job that pays a lot of money. I think one of my best paying jobs on the platform was a sales job. Picking up the phone and doing cold calls, which is really when you have those telemarketers calling your number and they just start talking to you. I used to get paid to do that. Okay, that was a job. That was a job. What else we have? There's the last two, and then I'll get to your questions. So yeah, setting up your profile, going through the jobs, making sure that you look at the employer's jobs and make sure that you are picky about the kind of employer that you pick. I want you guys to be safe on the platform. I want you guys to get paid. Creating your profile, submitting your proposal, getting that first contract, putting in your wire transfer banking information, and just start. Get that first job. Once you get that first job, the next job will be easier to get. You just start that momentum and you go from there. Okay, so questions time for your questions. Oh, this lighting is so bad. Let me see if I could put the light over here. Y'all have me talking to y'all in the dark all the time. Anyway, all right, questions. Thank you guys so much for joining. I see we have some more people joining. Thank you so much for sharing the live. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the heart me. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for participating. Thank you for allowing me an opportunity to share this information with you. I've always wanted to share this with my fellow Bahamians, with people who follow my information, and just share this information because I feel like sharing is caring. I don't get anything out of this. I know a lot of people like, so they paying you to do this or what? What's in it for you? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I just would feel good to see you guys walk away. If I help one person to get a job, if I help one person to bring income for their family in the Bahamas, in the Caribbean, I would be happy. I would be really happy to see that I have helped someone. Okay, that's really what I'm getting out of this. So let's see. I have a lot of questions, and this is time for you guys to drop your questions. I will answer your questions. I see a lot of people have been signing up, and yeah, let's get to it. All right. Okay, I got questions about the website. It's upwork.com. Where are the tests located? When you fill out your profile, I think you select the skills area, and when you add the skills, it should be in a way to there should be somewhere to add the tests and stuff like that, somewhere in that area. Interesting. Thank you. What does it say? What would you say is the percentage chance of client being interested in you first for a job? So basically, I guess that question is saying, how do I make sure that I stand out so much that the client that is hiring will hire me and not someone else? Honestly, that depends on you. How much work did you put into your application? Did you put it together? Is your entire profile lined up with the job? Okay, for example, the customer service job that we saw. If you go on my profile, it talks about customer service. It talks about how I've helped people. It talks about all of that. And then I think I had a video introduction with the whole, hi, my name is Letitia, blah, blah, blah. And I would be so happy to help you and your customers. Okay, number 2, I have all of that. And then on top of that, when I send a message to apply for the job, I always attach a voice note, a personalized voice note. And the voice note would say, hi, I see your position. I'm really interested in this position to be your customer service representative. I am a native English speaker. I have been working as a customer service representative for however many years and whatever. Like, you need to go, you can't just write a little something and throw it out there and expect it to land. You competing sometimes against a lot of people. Sometimes it's not a lot of people that you're competing against, but in a lot of times it could be a lot of people. You're competing against people from all over the world. You have to do something different to stand out. And that was one of the things that I was able to realize when I first started. Little me, early 20s or whatever age I was when I started, I didn't have skills. I didn't have experience. I didn't have anything. The only thing I knew was I said, okay, what do I have that the other people applying for this job doesn't have? And you know what that one thing was at that time? I said, you know what? English is my first and only language. Half these people applying for these jobs don't even speak English. They don't speak English as a native speaker. So that's really how I got into being a customer service representative, because I realized that they were having a lot of people that, they had English as a second and a third language, and they weren't necessarily at the level where they could fully understand what the customer needed. And I said, you know what? This is an opportunity. I can speak English. I understand. I can understand what the client is saying when they ask me to do something. I'm not gonna just let it go over my head. Everything that they say, I'm gonna know. I'm gonna understand. I'm gonna respond appropriately, professionally, and then also being timely, showing up on time, before time, asking questions, being available, being curious, being interested, extending my education. If I'm doing customer service, learn about the different platforms that customer service agents use. If I could remember anything off the top of my head, there's a lot of platforms. I won't cover that in this particular live stream. Okay, so what is the percentage chance of a client being interested in you? My answer to that question is the percentage chance of the client being interested in you depends 100% on you. If you just slap something together and you post it and you said, okay, I hope this person hire me, cheaper, you don't send it, okay? But if you spend an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, however long, putting it together, like you gotta take time and you gotta mold that, you gotta perfect that, you have to make that as perfect as humanly possible, okay? If you're not that good of a writer, you're not strong in writing, use AI to figure out how to say it, but then put it in your own words, or put in your own words and then use AI. But whatever you do, don't copy and paste that AI stuff into this thing. Because like I said earlier, every client uses an AI detector, even more so when you are using like writing services and that type of thing. Okay, so I think that was a really good question. Thank you guys for sharing the live. I really appreciate that. We're excited to tune in, trying to stay focused. I hope you guys were able to benefit. I hope I covered a lot. I really tried to cover the most important things that I could think of. Where do I go to sign up? Well, I think I dropped that already. It's upwork.com. Where are the tests located? I covered that already. When you customize your application, your profile, you add the skills area. I think somewhere in there you should be able to do the tests. I might be somewhere else as well. So if you go to support.upwork.com, Upwork will literally give you the answers to navigating their website and making it all work for you. I just joined. What's the website? Upwork.com. What are connects and why do we have to pay for it? So when I first started Upwork in 2010, it was initially Elance and Odesk. Elance and Odesk, there were two different companies. They eventually merged and they became one company, which is Upwork. So initially it was free to apply for jobs. It was free, but the problem at that point, and this is just me saying from my observation and being in the community, people like us who are applying for these jobs, like let's say I'm applying for these jobs and I see 1,000 jobs I want to apply for. I take my one resume, I don't change nothing. I don't even say, okay, this is a customer service job and this is a sales job. Let me change, okay, I want to apply for your sales position. And like they change up something. People were just copying and pasting their resume or proposal, whatever, and just sending it to a bunch of clients. And that gave the clients a horrible experience. These clients are getting so many applicants, but nobody really seriously want to do the work. They're just sending out just to see who's gonna bite. Okay, so I think what happened is the experience and the quality of experience for the employers really went down at that point, and they probably were just trying to find a way to slow down the way that we apply for these jobs and make us stop and think, okay, do I really want to apply for this job? Okay, I have 6 or 7 jobs or 100 jobs or whatever. Which ones are the ones that I really think is a good fit for me? Which one can I actually do? Not something I think I could do, not something I want to do. What can I actually do today? Okay, so that is my theory. I don't work for Upwork. I'm not affiliated with Upwork. I've only used the platform and it's been very beneficial for me. Hence the reason for sharing with you guys. Good information. I'm glad you found it helpful. How to make sure it's hourly work. When you click on find work, you're gonna see, when you see the job, I'm just trying to see if they have the same label on it, but normally when you see the job, it has like hourly, or it would have fixed rate. So underneath the job name, so like how we saw the customer service thing, right underneath that, it has hourly or fixed rate. When it says hourly, it normally says, okay, hourly how much per hour, what level experience, so expert, intermediate, whatever. Excuse me. How many months per year, how many hours per week. It tells you all of that right in the same information. Okay? Will there be a recording where this live can be watched again? I had to look at my next camera when you said that, because this camera, I'm recording in 2 places, one on TikTok and one also on another backup camera to hopefully post somewhere, I don't know where, because I'm sure people want to watch the information again. Thank you for this information. God bless you. Thank you guys for tuning in. What are connects? I just talked about it. So connects are really like a bid, like tokens, I guess. So if you need 17 tokens to apply for a job, that's really what a connect is. You need tokens to apply. So a set of tokens is connect. So 17 connects for, I guess, the higher paying jobs, and then maybe it's less for the lower paying jobs. I don't really know how they work it out. I have not looked at that detail. But connects are really, a way to get your job. So you bid on the job and you use the connect to get it. What skills do you need for this? I think I covered that already. So whatever skills you have as an individual, as someone that's done work in the regular world and in person, I call it in-person job and online job. So that's how I talk about the two. I have an online resume and I have an in-person resume. I don't even share my online resume with my in-person employers. Like, to me, it don't even make sense, because they wouldn't even understand what I was doing on the computer. They wouldn't understand, but they can know. Okay, well, Letitia, boy, she know, but this SEO thing, she know, but this whatever. Yeah, because I get the experience and the information from working with teams all around the world. I hosted customer service training for teams all around the world. Like, I've done a lot online, and then when you look at the offline, it's like my work is so different. So the skill really depends on you. So I'm naturally artistic. Like, I can draw, I write well, I guess I articulate myself well, and that kind of thing. So I use those skills that I have to get the jobs that I've been able to get. So articulating well, writing well, a lot of that together is really good for customer service, because you can send emails, you answer live chat, whatever. So that's really how I was able to transfer those skills. There's sales, there's a lot. I covered that already. All right, so how likely is it for you to be hired? What are the odds? I think I kind of covered that earlier. So it depends on how much you invest into it. Signing up, Upwork.com. Thank you for sharing the live. Do you need experience? I think I covered that already. So whatever skills and experience that you have, if you're someone that's just coming out of school, even as someone who's just coming out of school, you know how to use TikTok, you know how to use Facebook, you know how to use plenty stuff. You know how to use those things. You have skills. You may not feel like you have skills, but you have skills. A lot of people don't know how to use TikTok. Okay, there are some jobs where they ask you to help post the stuff on TikTok, to help post stuff on Instagram, help post stuff wherever. Like, that's a job. That's a job. I mean, is that a skill? Is that a skill? Tell me, because I could be wrong. Is that a skill? And then, like I say, if you could talk, you could make money. Sales. You on the phone. You're talking about the products and services that you're selling. Sales. Open your mouth. Send an email. Live chat. You see people chatting in those chat box. That's a job. So no, you don't necessarily need experience. A lot of the jobs are willing to train people, because if they have certain products and services, they would want you to be educated and informed about what their products and services does. I worked with a client that was a medical spa. So they did Botox, they did fillers, they did all of that. I didn't know anything about that kind of thing. They trained us. They taught us everything about fillers. They taught us everything about everything. Botox. And I was like, okay, I didn't know any of that stuff. I had to learn it on the job. And a lot of employers, especially the best ones, are willing to train you. They have managers, supervisors, they have people there to train you. you know. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Welcome guys, thank you for joining. Good night, welcome. Link, I'm getting a lot of questions about what's the name of the link. Upwork.com. Website address, upwork.com. What about listing specifically for Bahamian workers? What do you mean specifically for Bahamian workers? I'm not sure if I follow that. I've seen one or two jobs that were asking for people in the Bahamas. And because I was one of the only people in the Bahamas on the site, of course, they sent me an invitation to apply for the job. And I was like, you want me to do what? So that particular job was, they wanted me to drop off a document to an office physically located in the Bahamas. I think it was like in my island or something, probably in Freeport. They're like, okay, we just need you to take this document over to this place. I'm like, that's it? And you could pay me $50 to do that? Where this document is, let me send that now. Okay, where is the link? I get that a lot. Is there a way to rewatch the live? I think I covered that earlier. It's called UPS. Yes, UPS. I was trying to remember what it was. Yeah, so I did have a UPS backup. It's really helpful, especially when you have a power outage. Oh gosh, you need to have internet. You need to have your stuff going. You know, you don't need interruption. So that was really helpful, having a backup internet data package. I think I covered that earlier. Thank you for dropping the link in the chat, upwork.com. Is there a fee for using the website? So the website is free, but it seems as if they charge a little something for, I guess, connects, what they said earlier. And like I went through the whole reason why people were just spamming the employers. And that's just my perspective, because I've been on the platform from a long time. So to see how it was and the problems that we were having and like the spamming, and what I'm seeing now is the amount of people applying for jobs now is less. You can actually have a chance to apply for a job that you really want to apply for, because people aren't just spamming their resume and their proposal everywhere. People are only applying for the jobs that they really want to apply for. What I would also say, since I'm on the point of applying and finding jobs, the jobs that you see at this time of the night, these are probably jobs that are like people in Australia, people in certain parts of the world. When you apply for jobs earlier in the day, you know, our time, our local time in the Bahamas, which is also New York time. When you apply for jobs that time of the day, you are going to get more of the United States jobs. Okay, so I'm just giving you some tips here, just giving you some tips. The time of the day that you apply for the job and you see the jobs posted, that's when they're going to be posted fresh. The fresh posts, the time of the day local for them. So if you're looking for an Australian job, now the Australian job hours are going to be different. If you want to work that job hour, maybe you're just trying to work around your regular job, then I get it. All right, so let's continue. I got a lot of your questions to get to. When is time for interviews, and what kind of interview will it be? So interviews are standard. They give you the same interview process. Some people even give you as much as tests, like actually test the way that you just test your understanding, your basic understanding. Is this person really good with computers? Is this person really whatever? Depending on the job. Whatever the job is, they would just test you at just enough to know. And not everybody even does that. Like most people just interview wise, they would say, okay, hi Letitia. Oh, I see you applying for the customer service job. All right. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Why do you think we should hire you? Yeah, the basic question. Why do you think we should hire you, Letitia? We have another 5 or 6 applicants for this role. Why is it that we should hire you for this role? Like what, tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you like to do for fun? A lot of them like to ask, what do you like to do for fun? What do you do when you're not working? They ask a lot of stuff. So that's how the interview is. It's interesting. I think that covers that. Okay, awesome. Appreciate the information. Very helpful information. I've completed my profile. Congratulations. Can't wait for you to get your job. Signed up last night. Awesome. I didn't know how much to put for the hourly rate. You can look at jobs similar to what you want to do and just see what they're